What's something that's cute when you're a kid, but creepy when you're an adult? Hiding in a clothing rack at a store. Department stores were so fun as a kid. Having free reign in one was like a giant game of hide and seek between me and the roving pedophiles. Thankfully I went undefeated. Good times. Look at this guy bragging over here. My parents never let me play hide and seek in the stores. Look at this guy bragging over here. He had parents. Hugging a stranger's leg because you mistake them for your mom. I once sat on someone because I mistook them for my mom. I once climbed onto a man's back in a sauna thinking it was my dad. We were completely naked. I once repeatedly hit a lady's lower back with my fists thinking I was giving my mom a nice massage. The lady didn't even turn around. Playing getting married with your cousin in the front yard. So funny. I did a fake marriage with a family friend when I was like 6. Now she's my brother's long-term girlfriend. 5 years now. He stole your wife. That bastard. The absolute cheek of that man. Running around the yard in only a diaper. Don't kink shame me, bro. Kink shaming is my kink. In that case, shame on you. That's the spirit. Santa watching you when you sleep. That's kinda like stalking. He sees you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. I don't know about you, but this sounds awfully disturbing. You'd better not breathe, you'd better not move, you're better off dead. I'm telling you dude, Santa Claus is gunning you down. Amazing remix. How are there two ops? Having a child girlfriend. I was in college talking to a guy who was telling me about having a huge crush on a 14-year-old girl. I had to ask some clarifying questions to learn that this happened when he was 13, not in the present when he was age 21. Before getting that sorted, it felt like a disturbing conversation. It's like those moments in a sitcom where there's a very bad misunderstanding and laughter ensues. Losing mom/girlfriend and accidentally grabbing the wrong woman's hand in the store. R/suspiciously specific. I did this as an adult. Accidentally grabbed the wrong guy's hand because he looked the same as my boyfriend from behind. We both laughed it off and moved on. Playing doctor with kids in the neighborhood. So you make them wait for 30 minutes then prescribe them drugs they can afford? You only wait 30 minutes before getting prescribed meds you can afford? Drugs they can't afford. Is this a joke I am too European to understand? Not a joke, please send me some Advair. Bathing with your siblings. Sweet home Alabama. I'm from Alabama and I resent this statement. We kiss our cousins. Arkansans fuck their sisters. Must investigate further. Being breastfed by your mother. Welcome to the Erie. I wanna watch you fly. Biddy? Not now, Harvey. 20 years ago I went to a new school for the first time. The headmistress was gorgeous. I went straight up to her and told her I would marry her when I was older. She told me that she had a boyfriend and this was not a good way to start a job interview. And then you got older, married her, and became the president of France, right? Ha. Ha. Hun. Pretending to be a cat. That's just kinky. Meow see here. I'm watching. Something jellicles. Our son, he's 8. Recently wrote a convoluted short story about locking himself in a basement with the neighbor's girl and described in detail how they would feed each other spiders, rats and millipedes. We had just watched a bunch of BBC Attenborough documentaries, so we could sort of directly tease out what had inspired him. He even integrated a little detail, namely that he and the girl would eventually turn blind in the darkness and that their children's eyes would be effectively without function from the very beginning. Me and my wife laughed our asses off. But were he to write something like that at 15 we'd be concerned. So how does it feel to be the parents of the next Stephen King? Stephen King is sick in the mind I am telling you. That man scares me. I think that is his whole point considering he writes horror. Imaginary friends. Are you judging us? 4 out of 5 of us are. Last one just wants coffee. I must be the last one. I can help. Walking around all day carrying my purple stuffed bunny. I have a stuffed sheep that is about the size and shape of a bowling ball. He's my favorite sheep, so I take him on vacations with me. One time in a German airport, a security guard saw my sheep and leaned over to her coworker and pointed at my sheep and said Schaf, which means sheep in German. It was great. What was even better was when we were having our luggage scanned, a guard took my sheep and just kind of squished it to make sure there was nothing inside. I was 12 at the time. I don't personally do it, but stuffed animals are awesome. We should destigmatize this one in most settings. When I was a young kid at church, maybe 3 or 4, loved Toy Story. Had Toy Story underwear, was very proud of said Toy Story underwear, ran up to one of my dad's friends and loudly exclaimed, "Curtis, look at my Woody," while pulling down my pants. So probably that. That's actually less creepy as an adult. After a few bears I could totally see that happening. Well yeah, you'd probably be knocked senseless and dreaming after a couple of bears. Telling a strange girl you want to marry her just because you happen to like and drink the same orange drink. I see, she did. Yeah, it's specific because it happened when I was 7 years old. Whatever, I remember Jenny promised to marry me in kindergarten, and we went through 10+ years of school after that, and our class had less than 10 kids. Anyways, I saw her again at the town Christmas gift giveaway for the kids, and raffle for turkey and ham for the adults, a few years ago. 3 kids and she's still beautiful. Didn't even have the nerve to say hello to her, besides our spouses wouldn't like it. Damn, I thought this would be in kids, That's How I Met Your Mother. You got us in the first half, not gonna lie. Calling emergency services because my mom refuses to get me ice cream. I once got yelled at when I thought there was a fire. But, because not a lot trusted the police, we used something like 211 instead. A police officer did show up, but to do a check, as it wasn't that serious. A neighbor was having a hard time roasting a pig in the middle of the country yard for a block party. 211? Is that the fire number? Kissing the girl on the playground. Jesus. Yeah, for sure. Guess I can't kiss my daughter on the playground anymore. Damn. If there's no consent, it's creepy regardless of age. Staring. When a toddler stares at you with that curious, childlike wonder gaze, it's cute. But do that as an adult, you're a creepy fuck with issues. I had a guy stare at me an entire bus ride once. I just stared right back at him the whole time. Either he was staring, or he was asleep with glasses on. Lol. Imagine if he was actually sleeping and wakes up to find a random person staring at him. What's this kid's problem? Having a crush on Disney princesses. I know someone that posts his fetishes as a 20 to 21-year-old on a teenager subreddit mostly populated by 13 to 15 years old about the things he would do to Disney princesses. If you call him out for it, he'll report you as harassment and gets you banned from the sub. I mean, yeah, I still have that child part of me that nostalgically remembers being attracted to the princesses, but nowhere near Rule 34 standards or anything. This sorta raises the interesting point here. As an adult, don't be open about it, but fuck man, I've been on R34 and Samus Aran still has it going on. The term mommy is now creepy to me. Ugh. My cousin said mommy for an uncomfortable amount of time. I stopped calling my dad Poppy when I turned around 15 and starting saying the way my aunts said to my grandpa, Pa, instead. Apparently it hurt my dad's feelings quite a bit when I started, so I started calling my mom Ma too. It sucks that we can't keep the endearing terms for our parents for fear that they will be taken as something dark. I miss being able to call my dad Poppy when I was a small carefree child who didn't know any different. I wish I could go back to how it was sometimes. Why not call him Papa? Where I'm from it's quite normal and I personally love it. Missing teeth. Kids missing teeth creep me out. As a kid, having my teeth fall out is scary. Wait until you learn why the tooth fairy wants them. Why to make a tooth daddy, of course. Barney. Funny. You're the third person to say that in 10 minutes. I love that you're responding to so many of these answers. Most people seem to treat askreddit as nothing more than a karma farm. Well, I'm actually interested. That's why I posted the question. I actually hate when I get a popular post like this. I'm so interactive, I feel the need to respond to as many comments as possible, but it's just too much sometimes. Smelling someone's hair. I used to say you smell good to a girl I like in 5th grade. That would be very weird if I said it now. Unless you're Joe Biden. I still notice when people wear nice perfume or have something nice in their hair, usually by accident, and of course I have to ask what perfume or hair stuff they used because it smells so good. Lol. Trying to tickle adults. Adults tickling adults that you are close enough to, is creepy? Oops. Maybe that's why the SO has such a problem. This underrated answer,